So over the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking about the Surface Duo almost incessantly, non-stop, in my dreams, in my idle thoughts. And I've read a lot of people's takes on the device, both positive and negative. And I think I have figured out a few important things. Currently, it feels as though a lot of the media has a negative take on this device, and the price has a lot to do with it. So let's talk primarily first about that price. Let's get that out of the way. This is an inherently expensive device to make because it is a new sort of device, and that's something we'll kind of come back to probably a couple of times. If I'm not mistaken, I've read that this is the thinnest screen on the planet that is able to, be pressure sensitive, proper inking capability. Microsoft has to make that. The batteries are split motherboards, the materials generally being used. This is why wireless charging isn't in there. Evidently, it is too thin for wireless charging. Basically, anytime you create an entirely new device wherein the components don't carry over from another device, you're going to drive up the price. R&D for the hinge, for the wires to go through the hinge. There's a lot of money that was dumped into developing this product, and inevitably that drives the price up. Now you also have to look at expectations for Microsoft. A lot of people have this perspective that the only way to be successful is if you sell 1 billion phones. Look, if you're looking at comparing this thing to the iPhone XR, which sold 46 million units last year, then yeah, this is going to be a colossal failure. But luckily, that's not what Microsoft is planning on selling. This is another reason why this device is as expensive as it is. Look, they know they're creating a new segment in the market entirely. So you have to know how to define what success is as well. I've heard people say, man, why didn't they do something, anything, to drive down that price? Did the phone need to be the thinnest phone on planet Earth? Could they have made it a little bit thicker if that had brought the price down? Well, perhaps, but evidently this is what they thought that they needed to do. So they made choices that made the price end up as it is. We don't know if that thinness, the lightness, these sorts of things, how necessary they believe that they are. Ultimately, we have to get this thing in our hands and determine, in conjunction with the software, if it's worth the money. That's another thing that I wouldn't be shocked if it also drove up price. Look, Kindle has spanning support. Spotify has spanning support. Do you think that they did that for Microsoft free of charge? Probably not. That probably cost Microsoft some money to encourage them to go ahead and support their upcoming device. So look, it's funny to me to see people that aren't early adopters complain about the things that are bad about being an early adopter. That's why some people aren't an early adopter. That's why most people aren't. I generally have been. You're going to pay more than you probably should. It's going to have some problems, but you're going to be the first one to get to experience this thing. It's a new segment. It's a brand new sort of product. It's going to be more expensive than you would hope. So then you hear a lot of people talk about how, oh, this thing's worse than the Galaxy Fold or whatever. I don't know that this comparison makes any sense at all. I get that they both have a hinge and that they both fold, but they're entirely different sorts of devices. If you ask me as a dual monitor user, monitor here, monitor there, would you rather have 2 monitors or 1 ultra wide crazy big monitor? I'm keeping my 2 monitors because there is something psychological about having 2 partitioned spaces. My OnePlus 7 Pro is fully capable of doing the split view, split screen multitasking thing. Here you go. I just pulled up 2 apps right there. There it is. Nice and split screen. Then I can drag it up and down, and I can play a video up here. And I don't know why I would want to be checking the weather while I'm, watching a video, but if I wanted to, I could. That's great. That's fine. Do you know how often I actually use that functionality? Approximately never. I can tell you from experience that once you get used to 2 partition spaces, I know they said this in their presentation. A lot of people went, oh, whatever, they're being stupid. But there actually is something psychologically prescient about 2 monitors, 2 displays. I am constantly multitasking in a really productive way with these monitors. I'm editing on this screen. I'm working on the thumbnail on this screen at the same time. I can get a lot done. It's an amazing thing to be able to do. And if you ask me, do I want to be able to do that on my phone? Do I want to be able to sit on my couch and have one note open on one screen and a news article on the other, and be able to use my Surface Pen to scribble down notes and so forth to prepare for a video. Yeah, I'm down. I want that a lot. That sounds amazing. The Galaxy Fold, look, I understand you can split screen, and you have a tablet, you can split screen them, and I'm sure that that's going to be fine, and that there's people that would love that. I have tablets. I have a Surface Pro 7. It's a great big tablet. And you know how often on that thing I will split screen view? Really not that often. And Windows makes it super simple to snap to the left and snap to the right. And I'm telling you right now, it is objectively inferior to having two actual distinct spaces to work in. I don't know why I prefer having two screens so much more. Look, we could get into the psychology of it if you want. I don't know that I could make a great case for it, but I'm telling you that my experience is that I prefer two distinct screens better than one big screen. If you get that, if you understand that, if you're like that, if you're a dual monitor user, that probably makes sense to you, and you probably feel similarly to me. If you're not a dual screen user, you think I'm talking utter gibberish. And again, this comes back to what Microsoft intends to sell. They have to first target people like me that want two screens, and then they have to convince everyone else that you do want two screens. It actually does make you more productive. It's not about one big screen. It's not about screen real estate. It's about the number of actual screens. Let's talk about Snapdragon 855 and 6 gigs of RAM. My OnePlus 7 Pro has a Snapdragon 855 and 8 gigabytes of RAM. This thing flies through whatever I need it to do. Look, you don't need the 865 or the 865 Plus to be able to multitask. It just isn't the case. Here's a YouTube video playing in HD while I'm scrolling through my Nest camera. I'm looking through that. It's fine, okay? Like you don't need super fast processors to be able to multitask. I've said this for a long time. Android hardware, smartphone hardware has far outstripped what our software is capable of doing. The reality is, in raw power, there are mid-range laptops that aren't as raw power, as powerful as modern smartphones, but the OS is limiting. It's a limiting factor. Google's Pixel phones come with 6 gigs of RAM, and guess what they can do? Whatever you want them to do. I'm not saying you can't pull out your Note whatever with 12 gigs of RAM and say, look, the RAM is full, therefore it's necessary. No, the system is going to use however much RAM is there, but that doesn't make it necessary. The only thing that Android really does that makes that RAM necessary is the ability to go back into your apps and to scroll way back and to pick an app that you had open 30 minutes ago and it still is in RAM. It's not that big of a deal. You're talking about running 2 apps at a time. You don't think you can do that with 6 gigs of RAM? It's going to perform just fine. At the end of the day, Microsoft is taking all the risk here. If you look back to when the iPhone came out, it was overpriced. It didn't have 3G. No one wanted a full screen phone. People needed a keyboard to be productive. They took all the risk, okay? And it worked out. I'm not saying the Surface Duo is the next iPhone, but I'm saying that people levied similar complaints against the iPhone as they are against the Surface Duo. All the risk is in Microsoft's corner right now. And look, I know $1,400 is more than the iPhone released at. There's this thing called inflation, and the market has changed. People don't bat an eye at $1,200 phones anymore. It all comes down to the fact that, look, there are people that really like the idea of a dual screen phone. There are people that think that Surface products are awesome, that they feel fantastic, and that would find real value in having a dual screen phone. We can have a conversation about something like LG Velvet, which is going to be, damn near half the price, and it's going to have 2 screens. And how much worse is it going to be? I get that it's not as pretty and that it's thicker and that it's not really a dual screen phone because you can take it out of that case. Whatever. There's a conversation to be had there. But this idea that the Surface Duo is dead on arrival, I don't think is necessarily true. And the primary reason is because you can't claim something is going to be a failure when you don't know how we're determining success versus failure. If Microsoft is hoping to sell 20,000 of these things, they can do that. What, it doesn't become the next iPhone, so it's a failure? This is going to be a niche product. It always was going to be a niche product. So guys, I've rambled on long enough. Am I crazy about this? I probably am out of my mind. Let me know in the comments below. Also notice there's that handy little join icon now next to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you can spare $1.99 a month to become a member, that'll get you the perk of being currently shouted out on these videos. It would help support me tremendously as I am attempting to make this my full-time profession. Got a good start going so far, but any help would be fantastic. Come join us, be part of our best friend army here at Scary If Literal. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.